What makes someone's life go well? What's the best theory or philosophy to live by that guarantees the best life possible? One modern idea in philosophy is called desire satisfaction theory and claims one's life goes best to the extent that their desires get fulfilled. Is the key to a good life and state of high well-being having your desires met the best you can? Well, in this video, I'll be exploring this theory of well-being and analyzing if it is indeed the best philosophy for life today. So does meeting your desires in life equal the best life possible? When you think about it, probably the first question that arises in your mind is which desires? Just our desires or desires we have for other people in the world? Derek Parfit wrote about desireless theory in his work Reasons and Persons and suggested that we only focus on fulfilling our own desires. Take this for example. Suppose that I met a stranger who has what is believed to be a fatal disease. My sympathy is aroused, and I strongly want the stranger to be cured. We never meet again. Later, unknown to me, the stranger is cured. On the unrestricted desire satisfaction theory, this event is good for me and makes my life go better. This is not plausible. We should reject this theory. Obviously, it's not going to make any difference if the person we have a desire for lives or dies if we ever find out. So he suggests we focus on something he calls success theory. In the case of success theory, something is intrinsically good for you if it satisfies your desires, only if it satisfies your desires, and because it satisfies your desires. Now, it's important to understand that success theory is not hedonism, where hedonism, specifically prudential hedonism, is concerned with achieving pleasure and avoiding pain. Success theory focuses on specific desires we have, not necessarily a feeling. For example, we may have the desire to see our children become healthy, mature adults. This, of course, would entail much suffering and work, as any parent will tell you that raising children is not easy. Hedonism would be more concerned if we were experiencing pleasure and avoiding pain as we raised them. The next big question we should ask is whether we should focus on fulfilling the current desires we have or focusing on all the desires we have. For example, we may have the desire to be a professional artist one day. But if we have the desire to avoid going to art lessons in the present, we will have to decide whether to go for the immediate desire or the longer term one and suck it up and go to class. If we focus on just present desires, it leads to some bad conclusions though. Think of a teenager who gets grounded and then erupts in anger and threatens to end his life. If we focus on present desires for well-being, the teen will end his life, so that can't be right. So Parfit says desire theory should be what he calls summative. Or simply put, the more desire satisfaction a person gets in their life as a whole, the better their life. We can assign specific numbers to desires. Maybe not having to go to art class could be a level 1 desire, but then becoming an artist as a career could have a level 100,000 desire. In this case, we should focus on sucking it up and going to class for a better life. So yes, not pulling the trigger didn't satisfy desire, but living more years will allow the teen to satisfy even more desires and have a better life. However, there's a big problem with this too. Parfit asked us to imagine that he got us addicted to a drug that he can give us an endless supply for. Each morning we awake with a strong desire for our drug fix for the next day, which he supplies. Say we do this the rest of our life. Theoretically, he made our lives go very well since he's fulfilling many of our desires for the powerful drug. And that outweighed the one initial desire not to take the drug in the first place. But that can't be correct either, right? Well, luckily he has a solution. We need to distinguish between local desires and global desires. A global version of success theory ranks desires so that the desires about the shape and content of one's life as a whole are given some priority. Now, a local desire would be one in which we count each desire without factoring in a past element that gives one's life as a whole a shape. In the case of a global version of success theory, the desire to not become a drug addict is now much greater than the individual desires to get high, since it had a much greater impact on us. So I prefer not to become a drug addict. That will explain why I shouldn't take Parfit's drug. I can envision a life that more greater desires could be fulfilled than the one I have to fulfill the same desire repeatedly. But then one could argue back, what if you can envision a life like that? Now imagine that in addition to being a great philosopher, Derek Parfit was also a whack job that got us addicted to drugs as a small child. When assessing our entire life, we would probably choose to let him get us addicted to drugs since we can't envision any life or any desires that could be better than that when we assess our life. The only thing we can think is just sitting around at our house not wanting to do anything at all. Now, at least being addicted to drugs gave us something to want and do. Or think of it this way. Say we have the option between staying at home and reading a nice book or going to a wild party. Say we choose to satisfy our desire to stay at home and have a nice time. However, if we went to the party, we would have an even better time. We need to add the idea of informed desire to this global success theory. Informed desire meaning, according to the Informed Desire account, the best life is one I would desire if I was fully informed. So at this point, if you're actually still watching, you're probably wondering how exactly that would work in real life, and starting to become a bit suspicious that desire satisfaction theory in any form isn't a solid theory of well-being. Now, don't worry, you're not alone. There seems to be several serious flaws in this theory of well-being that are unfixable, no matter how much we bend and twist this initial idea. Now, for instance, there's the grass counter issue. John Rawls asked us to imagine a Harvard mathematician fully informed about her options in life who somehow developed an overriding desire to just sit all day and count blades of grass at Harvard. Perhaps she experienced some neurosis or trauma that led to this. Perhaps it's a false desire she thinks she has and is really masking a deeper desire to be free again. Living your life counting blades of grass, fulfilling a false desire can't be correct, right? Another issue is death. Say we have the desire to be a famous artist, like Van Gogh. Van Gogh, however, didn't become famous until after he died. His desire then was fulfilled, yet it didn't impact his life. Some desire satisfaction theorists argue that we can't desire things after death since they don't affect us. That shouldn't factor in. But what if you were to travel back in time and ask him if he would want to become famous, even if it occurred after he died? He would probably answer yes in the present. Finally, maybe the most important, desire isn't a good-making property, it seems. For example, we desire things like to paint a great picture because we think those things are independently good. We aren't painting the picture because they will satisfy our desire for them. As Aristotle said long ago, desire is consequent on opinion rather than opinion on desire. So desire list theory or desire satisfaction theory isn't a good theory of well-being, right? So what is? Well, I'll give you an even better one coming up in the next video soon. And if you like this video, again, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like it using the link in the description, and turn on the notification bell if you want updates when the videos come out. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again.